It's match day, Newcastle fans, but this is a slightly different one to the norm. As you can probably see behind me, this is not the weather of Newcastle, and I do have a t-shirt and a pair of shorts on. That's because I'm in Portugal, Albufeira to be exact. Yes, you might be thinking, who the hell goes to Albufeira at the end of January? Well, it's me, and it is my birthday today on match day, and I will say that I was so massively torn about whether to stay and do like a match day crawl around Newcastle and actually go to the match, because it never falls that Newcastle are at home on my birthday. But got a busy 2 or 3 weeks coming up. There's loads of matches coming up. Arsenal, Birmingham, Man City, going to be going to all of them, and it's just nice to get away and do a bit of get a bit of winter sun in on your birthday. But the reason I'm doing this video is it's a bit of a match vlog, but it's not really a match vlog. So what I'm doing, I've rallied up the very few Newcastle fans that were on the flight. If you haven't already seen, I did get a shout out on the flight, which was absolutely insane. It's in my YouTube shorts if you want to take a look at that. I've rallied up the few that I know that are here. We've agreed a bar to go to, Blue Star, which sounds very appropriate for Newcastle, on the strip. They are going to have the match on, as far as I'm told, and we're all going to get together, hopefully a few of us, like some sort of weird meet-up. Not in a weird way. Going to meet up, have a few beers, celebrate my birthday in the only way that I would like to happen, which would be 3 beautiful points for Eddie Howe's Mags. I am going to maybe see how many people have heard of Hugo Viana. He's one of the only Portuguese players of recent years that I can think who's played for Newcastle. Would come with me whilst I not only get into town for a few birthday beers for the match, but also dress like an absolute idiot in the process. If a lot of this video ends up being slurred, I'm allowed. I apologise. I don't promote heavy drinking, but I do when it's your birthday on a Saturday afternoon in sunny Portugal. Who are you, Max? Yes, this is the get-up. This is the get-up. Yeah, I'm going to need a fair few drinks and hopefully 3 points to get over feeling like this much of a twat in what is a very quiet, very quiet, can't really spin round, it's a bit blurry behind, is very quiet Albufeira strip. I've never been to this part of the world before. I do like Portugal because the beer is fantastic. I've just had a beer for €2. But before we get to the Blue Star, the Newcastle pub, which I'm hoping might have some fellow Newcastle shirts floating around, let's quickly get to some black and white banter stats. Stats. First up for this one, yes, I am still doing the stats because I've got them fresh in my head. No one has ever looked this much of a twat in the middle of Portugal in February. That's not the first time. That is true, though. First one's got to be Alexander Isak. Since the start of December, no striker has scored more... Sorry, I'm going to start that one again. Since the beginning of December, Alexander Isak has scored more goals than 6 teams in the Premier League. 6 teams he's got more goals than, which is an absolutely mental statistic to say out loud. Next up is definitely a one that I want to say that I'm quite proud of. Eddie Howe's Mags have got more points than from losing positions, only second to Man City with 15. 4 matches we've come from behind this season and won. So I don't want to say Fulham are going to score first today, but fingers crossed, if we do go behind, Eddie Howe's resilient Mags can continue that little patch of form. Anyway, I'm going to go and get a drink, maybe a Jaeger bomb, to get over this feeling of feeling as stupid as I do. How are Eddie Howe's birthday, Max? When I say I've just had the strongest, worst Jaeger bomb of my whole life, it was like 3 shots of Jaeger and a tiny bit of Rebel with no shot glass. There was no separator for 2. Oh my God, honestly, Eddie Howe. I might not see Eddie Howe's Mags in action today. Cheers anyway. Right, I'm just outside the Blue Star bar with Bruno. Yes, I'm not making that name up. Bruno Guimaraes.
It's true. Yeah.
Right, so you own the Blue Star pub just behind us here. Right, so tell us the story of this pub, because there might be a fair few Newcastle fans watching this. This is Albufeira in Portugal, as I've already said at the start of this video.
Okay, this is the oldest bar here in the street from 1980s. Okay.
Right.
This bar was 100% Newcastle bar on 1980s. It was for a couple. It's Portuguese. Alvaro and her wife was Anne. She's from Newcastle. It was a Jordi bar, like Newcastle bar, 100%.
There's always a Newcastle bar somewhere.
Until today, even me, I got this establishment 17 years ago. I keep the name. I resist the name Blue Star. And I have the star of Newcastle still there on the sign of the bar.
Yes.
And if you look to the cocktail menu, it's still there. Because I respect because it's like the history from the bar. Until today, it's like I said, still a Newcastle in here, but I need to be open to everyone. You know, it's a karaoke bar. We open all year round.
So it's got that little subtle Newcastle touch without being too biased towards Newcastle. The toilets are black and white, which I like.
Yeah, it's
toilets
true.
are black and white on the walls.
It's true.
And so in the summer, tell me how many Newcastle fans pile in here?
I always come around every day, like every week. Always come some people around. Always. And they look to the stad because the stad is there, and you can see the Newcastle Bridge still there up there.
I will share a little.
I'll
share a little photo of it on the wall.
Okay, still there.
Well, it's only early February. It's not peak season. There's plenty of us in.
Yeah, correct.
And
Today's.
And as we record this, Newcastle winning 1-0, so things are going pretty good.
It's going well
today.
for the first half. Yeah.
Right, so tell me one more time. When you come to Albufeira, what bar should you come to?
Blue Star.
Blue Star.
Come enjoy us.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for speaking. Oh, cheers. Right, it wasn't the result we wanted, but I've had these.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't the result we wanted.
Right, so we didn't win the match, but we've had plenty of Jaeger bombs, plenty of shots. Wednesday, Arsenal, are we getting to Wembley?
100,000,000%. I tell you what, we're getting to Wembley because I tell you what, we're not going to sit back. I fucking hope we're not going to sit back.
Eddie Howe doesn't sit back,
No, he doesn't. We are going to attack, and I tell you what, we're going to take him on the foot front, and we're going to have him.
There we go. So we are going to Wembley.
100%.
That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. Happy days. Albufeira Mags. Where Jude? That's tight. Right. Oh. And just like that, I am back in the house, just got off the flight, just got in the taxi, and my God, if you ever need to realise the difference and how much different the weather can be, it is going somewhere a little bit hotter like Portugal in the end of January and coming back in to Newcastle. But of course, I got my Greg's pasty as soon as I got off that flight. Look, I hope you enjoyed coming with us for that. We never got the result I wanted on my birthday. I was probably the jinx. I was never going to win a football match that fell on my birthday. We were never going to get the 3 points because of that. Got dressed like a no, met some amazing people. Bruno, the owner of the Blue Star bar. I really hope you enjoyed that interview. It was fascinating to hear how he's never changed things. And yeah, I got whacked around the head 5 or 6 times and drank some shots and lived to see the day to tell his tale. Anyone, though, who is ever going abroad, whether it's the most random, obscure country you could ever think of, the advice I would give is always do some research into where fellow Newcastle fans might be meeting to watch the game. Because I've been lucky enough to go to Vegas, LA, Miami, Turkey, Spain a couple of times, and I've always managed to rally up some fans. And all the people I met yesterday to help us join in my birthday celebrations and have a couple of cheeky Jaeger bombs, it was a pleasure to meet every single one of them. Even in January, in the middle of Portugal, out of season, you can still find some fans to watch the game together. Look, let's just talk about the match. Yes, of course, I was watching the match through birthday glasses and also through the alcohol Jaeger bomb lenses, but I was still able to gather it all in, watch things back, read things back, and make a couple of quite worrying observations. Fulham, can I just say, our bogey team this season, we were awful down at their place and we weren't great again, and that's the worrying thing for me. I think we can analyse the game a bit closer, but generally speaking now, that's now Bournemouth and Fulham, 2 matches that we really looked at if we are going to push on and get European football this season, that we have to be winning and certainly not losing, which is the key. I'm looking a bit wider in the season. West Ham, we should have absolutely tanked them when we lost to them. Brighton was a game much earlier in the season. This is the difference between getting Europa League, Champions League, and maybe slipping a bit further down. And that's a big concern for me, because what I said going into this match is that with Man City, Nottingham Forest and Liverpool all to come in February, this game felt massive to start the month. We'll talk about that ginormous game against Arsenal on Wednesday in a second. Look, we started this one really, really fast, really out the traps. Probably one of our fastest starts. Isak had a little half chance on the half volley. We were at them. There was balls going into the box, and you were like, wow, we have come out here exactly what you want to see, desperate to get that 3 points and put things right for what happened in that Bournemouth game last time out at St James's. And we just dropped off a cliff really fast. And I will go on record and say, yes, Fulham were very good, worthy of that result. I thought they set up quite well. They had so much energy in the final third. But I don't think, like the Bournemouth match, that it was a fantastic Fulham performance. I thought they were good. They gave as much as they got. I thought they were a lot more dangerous in attack. They used their attack a little bit smarter. But I didn't think they were absolutely brilliant from start to finish. I just thought we contributed to that downfall a little bit. First half, we do get the lead. I think on the run of play, although it was quite end-to-end for most of the match, we probably deserved it. Jacob Murphy, 200th appearance, bang, wonderful. But we still weren't pulling up any trees. The control in the midfield was not there. We all go in at half-time, we take a breath, and we think, right, what can we come out in the second half? Can we push on and put the game to bed? Or is there going to be more to be worried about? And we just never got going in that second half. And for me, that's where the match was lost. And Fulham, again, the goals we conceded, first one isn't great. Yes, there's a bit of a deflection, which helps. But the defending, the build-up, the giving the ball away, that wasn't good. And then the free kick, there's nobody near Muniz for the winner. I think Dubravka could have done a little bit better. But defensively, for both goals, both players were just in acres of space. And that is a worry for me. We'll talk about individual areas of the pitch in a second that we haven't had for too much of this season. Is looking really shaky defensively. We never really got going after that in the second half. 1-1. We are still pushing. We'll talk about chances missed. I mean, look at the one that Joe Willock, he lets the ball go through his feet. That wasn't nice to see. That was really bad for a Premier League footballer to not even connect properly with the football. We've hit the crossbar. Gordon's come close. Isak's normally almost curled in an absolute worldie to continue his form. But that's the key word, nearly. I'm not going to stand here and say we didn't create chances. We did. But I just don't think we ever had control. And that's probably the worst. Other than the Bournemouth match when the whole team was bad, that's probably the worst I've seen Tonali, Bruno and Joe Linton play as a three, because I thought against Bournemouth, Tonali was probably the only player on the pitch that really looked still pretty decent. I thought Tonali had a really off day apart from striking the crossbar early doors. I thought he was a little bit more sloppy in possession. He didn't look as comfortable. And as a team in transition, we really struggled to cope with their pace. And that then would leave me onto our fullbacks. Tino, Lewis Hall. I don't think Lewis Hall on the left-hand side did too much wrong against Adama Traore, the baby-oiled absolute roidhead that he is. But I just don't think they played very well. I thought Tino Livramento got caught napping a couple of times. And we haven't seen the level of performances from those two in the last 3 weeks. I think it's fair to say. That's not me saying that Lewis Hall's been really bad. Against Southampton, he wasn't too troubled, but not the two whipping, aspiring, exciting young fullbacks that we've seen in previous weeks. Again, midfield, I think that was where the match was lost massively. I thought defensively we were really sloppy. I do think Fabian Schär gets away with a little bit too much from Newcastle fans, maybe me included sometimes, because he's so experienced, he's been there so long. He does like to do the glamorous strikes of the ball from time to time. He does spread the occasional very good pass, but he also gives a lot away. And I think defensively he hasn't been great again in the last couple of weeks. Dan Burn has dropped off a little bit, whereas he's been absolutely impeccable for most of the season, so I won't come down much on him. But as a unit, against Fulham, we were not good enough. And Jimenez, very old-fashioned striker, to say that he's Mexican, he caused us problems all afternoon. And to be totally honest with you, I think he deserved his goal. Wide players, Jacob Murphy, great to see him score. Again, sloppy. I think Anthony Gordon played okay. I've seen a lot of people criticising Anthony Gordon. I thought he did brilliantly for Jacob Murphy's goal to turn his man and then run in and get the ball into the box. Wasteful in a couple of areas. I still don't think we're seeing the same Anthony Gordon we saw last year, and I said that to someone in the pub. And Alexander Isak was feeding on scraps a little bit. He should have probably done better early doors. Can't remember that one was offside on the half volley. comes close when he hits the crossbar, but when we are not giving him what he needs, when our midfield is not really connecting our front three, it's difficult, and he was feeding a little bit off scraps. We just had no control of the match, and that's now 2 home games in a row that we haven't. Am I concerned? Yes, I'm concerned because we are continuing to sell players. Almiron is out the door. Nobody could argue with that money. Now it looks like Lloyd Kelly is gone, so that's just another centre-back / left-back short. There's talk of Kieran Trippier leaving, and when the going is getting tough like it was in the second half, maybe some Newcastle fans would have said that Eddie Howe should have made substitutions faster. That's fair enough, but when you've only got Lewis Miley, great player, but is he going to change the game? Maybe not. Joe Willock is that player on his day, but what we are seeing is a Joe Willock who is not getting a run of starts, and this isn't me making excuses for him, but as a substitute, he just looks like he's really, really struggling for Newcastle, and he was terrible yesterday. I don't like to say that about players individually, but he never got going. He was giving the ball away. He was making poor decisions. That chance when he fluffed it, he did not have a very good afternoon, and it's just going to add fuel to the fire of some Newcastle fans who think that he's another player that should be moved on. But we do not have options to change things when the going is getting tough. No Harvey Barnes, who we know knows where the goal is. Asula, I would like to see him get more minutes, but then are you really taking Isak off? If you want him to make a difference, are you going 2 up top? Callum Wilson, where we know he's nowhere to be seen. And after that, you are really struggling. Kieran Trippier can whip the ball in, but he might be another player away as well. I'm expecting a big summer, but this is a risky game we are playing in this January window by not having any other bodies lined up to come in, and we finish in the season with a weaker squad. So that was a concern for me. Look, Bournemouth and Fulham have not been good enough. That is not the standards that Eddie Howe has set at St James's Park, because our home form for years now has been very good. But this is a game where we do not have time to dwell. I am concerned about that lack of control in midfield. I am concerned about us making defensively sloppy mistakes. But Arsenal is one of the biggest matches as a fan that we will have for many years at St James. Maybe because it's Arsenal. The last semi-final was Southampton when we were almost over the line. We are 2-0 up, but Arsenal will be watching. We're playing Man City today, watching how we've been at home, and they'll be sniffing blood, because if they get an early goal, I'm worried about what will happen at St James's. We need to defend better. We need to be more switched on in midfield. None of these daft passes, and individual performances need to be better, because we can beat Arsenal, we can get over the line, we can go to Birmingham and then Man City the week after and start picking up results, but we have looked really out of sorts. And to be honest, I thought against Wolves when we won, we weren't great. Bournemouth, we were terrible. I thought Southampton, we did a job, but I didn't think we were amazing away at Southampton, a match we should have won. So these performances where we've dominated, we haven't seen them now for a good few weeks. So I do think we need to learn to adapt to different teams setting up in different ways, and Fulham had too much pace in between midfield and the front three for us to handle, and we struggled with the overlap for Robinson on the other side. So that's where we need to be able to adapt and go against different opposition depending on how they play against us. Look, as I've just said, on to Arsenal we go. I hope you've enjoyed this very unusual match vlog, Newcastle fans. I didn't let it ruin my birthday too much because life's too short for that. And we've got a game in 3 days' time that is one of the biggest. And we all need to get behind the boys and hope that we shake off this ropey form at St James's Park, because they do not come much bigger than 90 minutes away from another cup final. Keep the faith, Newcastle fans. I'll do a bit more analysis as the week goes on because my head is up my backside. Whack that follow, whack that like, whack that subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. How are you? Eddie Howe's Mags.